welcome back to Ginger Acres. Cutting a little bit of hay today. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, I believe. We had a lot of rain this past weekend, about 3.5 inches, but it was nice yesterday all day. It was a little bit windy, about 85 degrees. It dried things out really nice. So I'm gonna try to cut a couple fields today. I apologize for not having uploaded any videos lately. We've had a lot of crappy weather, a lot of days of really warm temperatures, really high humidity, and chance of thunderstorms a lot of days. So to me, it wasn't worth coming down, trying to cut any hay or do much of anything with 80% chance of thunderstorm in the afternoon. But like I said, I took a first cutting off of this field. I didn't get much footage of it. I end up having to cut this field down the middle. I don't know if you can tell, but it's on quite a slope. It comes down to my right, your left, when you're watching the video. I'll try to give you a good idea of what it looks like. Like I said, you're probably not going to be able to tell how steep it is, but when I move in this direction with the hay bind, like it is now, it tends to kind of want to slide and cut on an angle. It cuts kind of crooked, so I like to cut the field in half and cut this way and then turn around and go that way on the top side of the field. That way it just cuts a little bit better and I'm able to get a full width of the hay bind. So finish this field up. I don't think I'm going to ted it all today. It's been mostly sunny. It just started to get a little bit cloudy now, just kind of some pop-up clouds. I think those are supposed to go away this afternoon though. So we're going to head over to the other field, start a second cutting over there, get that all taken care of, and then it's just going to be this field and that field this time. It's just that field right over there that I'm going to go over and do next. So let's head over and take a second cutting off of that field. As you can see, the reel, this part stopped moving here. The piece that feeds the uncut grass into the cutter bar and then feeds the cut grass back through the rollers. And it's this chain right here that I talked about. See, it's off both sprockets. This little one down here and then the larger one up here. That's the same chain I talked about earlier this year when I was doing the video on the maintenance on this piece. So I'm probably gonna have to go pick up a new chain. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna try to get this field done, but before the next cutting, I'm probably gonna have to go pick up a new chain. So let me see what I can do to get this thing back on without taking any links out. Yeah, That's definitely loose. That went back on there without even having to take a link out pretty easily too. So I'm gonna have to get that chain replaced so it doesn't start wearing out that sprocket prematurely. But let's keep cutting. Once I get the tractor started up, I'm gonna have to start the PTO slowly so that it feeds all that grass through and it doesn't kick that chain off again. Hopefully not. So as you can see, I had a different tedder hooked up this time. That's not mine, I didn't buy it. One of the neighbors, he was using that tedder earlier this year. He just bought a used 4-star tedder, so he's letting me borrow that tedder for right now. I'm hoping to be able to buy it from him. He says he wants to still keep it as a backup, but we'll see what happens with that in the next week or so. As you can see, this is the field of second cutting. It's not very thick, it wasn't super long, but I should still get a handful of bales out of it, probably 20-25 bales out of this. I don't know if you could see when I was running around tedding, just seeing how this tedder works. It's pretty windy today and it was blowing the smaller bits of hay kind of all over the place, which is good because it's drying things out pretty nice, but it's still, like I said, it's just blowing things around a lot. So hoping the sun and wind keeps up for most of the day tomorrow, and then hopefully just sunny on Thursday so we can get things raked up and baled up without blowing around too much. So I think I'm going to put everything into one video for this one round of making hay, just to change things up a little bit, but we'll see you tomorrow. So I know I said I would get a little bit of footage on day 2. I didn't do a whole lot yesterday. I tedded each of these fields twice, and what I actually ended up doing here in this field, the second cutting, was raking everything up. It was really pretty thin, so I just raked everything up yesterday into windrows, and then I spread them out again with the tedder. The other field over through the woods there, that I just raked 3 passes from the outside in, just because it gets shaded up top here so early in the afternoon when the sun starts to go down behind the mountain. So I figured I'd rake that all in, and then I went through and I tedded it all out just to get it spread out. Only thing is, the neighbor had picked up this tedder from a junkyard. I went to go run through again this morning and use it, and as you can see here, this rim right behind here where my finger is, that was already cracked. So when I started using this tedder the other day, I kind of figured it was only going to be a matter of time before that needed to be replaced. So that's going to need a new rim, maybe not a new tire. I just came up here this morning and it was flat. It wasn't flat when I was using it yesterday, so I might be able to get away with just buying a new rim for it. Like I said, I'm still going to ask him again about buying this tedder from him. I think I can probably get it pretty cheap, but for now we're gonna start raking. I've got the rake hooked up to the Alice B. This is what I raked with yesterday, and it actually did a pretty good job. In the past I haven't raked with this just because sometimes turning corners and trying to come uphill, the front wheels of this tractor will want to lift up because there's not a lot of weight there, but it did a great job yesterday. So like I said, I'm gonna rake these windrows that I spread back out yesterday. I'm going to rake them back together, and then we'll head over to the other field. We'll get that raked, let them sit for an hour or two to dry out a little bit more with the breeze and the sun, and then we'll come back and bale it this afternoon. These bales here, see how they're a little bit yellow? And then if you look up at those, they're nice and green. This is that first cutting off of the other field, and this stuff up here is the second cutting. There's no chemicals or fertilizer on either of the cuttings, and some of this stuff up here had a little bit of old growth that had already started to turn yellow before I cut it. But it was both fields were down for the same amount of time. This is just how much nicer that second cutting is. So definitely a lot nicer product. It looks a lot nicer. It stays a lot greener. Holds a little bit more nutrients in it. But just wanted to point that out real quick. I've got about 15 more bales to pick up, so that should put me somewhere around 40 or 45 bales for this cutting. After this, we're definitely going to fertilize at least these two fields. I got to get a first cutting out of one of the other fields I've got, and then I might fertilize the house field. We still haven't heard back on appraisals for the house, so I may get another cutting out of that field yet. Either way, I'm definitely going to fertilize. I need to get some nutrients put back in the soil and get higher quantities of bales these next few cuttings to get everything I need to my customers. But I appreciate you watching this time, and we'll see you on the next one.